Have the farm stand, which you saw. We have a bee museum. We have a full commercial kitchen. We have on-site housing for all the farmers that live here. I get to live here in the banana bungalow over there in the corner. Really cool. And then we're a regenerative farm. Have you guys ever heard of that before?
No.
Regenerative agriculture. So it's conceptually about putting the soil back into the ground and keeping it in the ground, storing carbon in the soil to hold water, as opposed to tillage, which over time degrades the soil and we lose soil. So we're trying to build it back through cover cropping, crop rotation, crop diversity, compost, and then herding animals, livestock. So we have chickens, and we have a baby cow and a baby goat that are best friends, named Roxy and Ruby, who are the stars of the show generally. And then we have you guys that come in and support us, who are very important to us. So we're trying to share that knowledge with you guys at Nagis.
Super.
Hive we use. And this is a Langstroth beehive, which was invented in the 1850s. And then there's a smoker and a hive tool, and then a veil for like the essential tools that we use with the working the bees. And then I'll break down the components. So you have a hive lid. And then this is called the queen excluder. Does anybody have any ideas as to what this might be for?
Prevents the queen from escaping?
Yeah, sort of. So imagine this is got more boxes on top. You want your queen to be separate from the honey if you're going to be harvesting honey. And in order to ensure that, we use a queen excluder because she is too fat to fit through this gap, whereas the worker bees can go up and down as they please. Yeah, so that's that one. And then we have, this is what's called a 10 frame brood box. So there's 10 frames in here, and I'm going to pass these around. And so give them a smell. That's alright.
Can the GoPro smell it?
Huh? Yeah,
GoPro smell it?
it's amazing. It is
Smellogram? Or
Yep.
smell-o-vision?
то есть пахнет медом. Чем еще?
And then what
Smell
shape?
honey, yes, smell honey or something else. I just smell honey.
Beeswax.
Oh.
So what
Вот этот
shape,
меньше пахнет, ну там больше меда,
what
наверное.
shape are you seeing in there? The hexagon.
Honeycomb, of course.
Yeah, so it's a hexagonal shape. And
Это они сделали или это искусственное?
mathematically, they have studied the hexagon in terms of storing space. It's the most efficient way to store space. And the bees are extremely efficient in utilizing this in the hive because they have a lot to store. They have the babies, they have the pollen, they have the nectar.
Это эти сделали, да? Пчелы. That is
then-
bee made, yes?
Yeah. So comparatively, if you look at this frame here, you can see this is foundation that we give them.
Okay.
Everything else.
They just
Yeah.
they're repeating it or it is their
Right.
natural.
Yeah, so this is natural that they build out. Everything built out.
They are not repeating this shape, no?
Yeah, they are.
They are.
Yeah, this is the hexagon, and that's hexagon too. But they'll do it either way. Even if you have foundation or not, they're gonna build it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
This is just a way for us to get them started.
Oh, okay.
and this is like plastic in here. So what we do is we recycle the beeswax when we harvest, and we paint beeswax over the plastic because we don't want them to just dive
Yeah.
into some plastic.
Why?
You know?
Yes.
They don't know what that stuff is.
My grandpa used to be a beekeeper, and he used
Oh,
to
really?
put strings.
Yep.
And he just do a strings, and then
Yeah.
and you just pull it up, and
Yeah.
you just break that.
Yeah,
they
and
build
that's
themselves.
generally how you can do like comb honey.
Mm-hmm.
And we do comb honey too, where we don't give them the foundation, and they build everything themselves, and then we sell the square honeycombs. So there's
Super.
a lot of ways to do this.
Wow.
There's all kinds of different beehives you can use too. I used to use what are called top bar beehives, and instead of it being vertical, it's horizontal. And that's like a Kenyan African style beehive. But there's like a new design out that's very popular called a flow hive, came out of Australia, where they literally hook like a tap that you can twist, and then honey comes out of a spout. So beekeeping has become a technology that has become quite advanced. They're even talking about making robot bees, which kind of scares me because there's a lot of questionable things about that. Anyway, I'm veering off topic. So, and then the last part, we have the bottom board, and this is where the hive entrance is located, which is this small little gap here. Because bugs like the dark, they like a little dark entrance. And that's our hive in a nutshell.
So there's the queen per box when they're all stacked up.
Yeah, so
Okay.
it's generally at the springtime, like around like late March till about early May.
Okay.
We get swarm season here. And there is a second swarm season around now in the fall, but it's very light. It's also kind of the same time as mating season for the bees too. So the bees kind of wait for that time, and then they kind of explode because all the honey flow really kicks into gear, and that kind of triggers them to swarm. Yeah. Little crazy because they'll lay multiple queens, and there can only be one. And when the first one comes out, she's usually the lucky one. She'll sniff out the others and then maul them and kill them. Because beehives depend on what are called pheromones, or the bees themselves, I should say. And every queen has her own set of pheromones and scents. And the bees have the ability to smell like better than a dog. So if you're a smelly farmer like me, you got to be a little cautious and take your showers, because if you go into a beehive smelling like a bunch of manure or bananas or whatever,
Yummy.
they're gonna be all over you. Because it's like, but yeah, let's go into the.
You're supposed to try to find the queen.
Right. So what we like to do in here is find the queen. And I have a really, really good picture of her. She is the star. She's about twice the length of a worker bee. And any activity you see going on in here that sparks your curiosity, ask me about it and I will try to explain it. So there's a lot of stuff going on in the hive. In reality, the rated R version of Winnie the Pooh, the bear would be going for the babies. So what's called the brood nest, where all the larvae and the grubs are, the protein, not the honey. you doing? When are you gonna do one? When are you gonna do one?
I was just thinking that. I want to do it now.
We haven't even gotten you out there, have we?
No.
That's
never
ridiculous.
been to the yard.
All right, before I leave,
We're going.
that's a secret. There are times when you can get away with it, and there are times when you absolutely need a suit. A full suit. Here's some gloves for you, my dear.
Thank you.
And she doesn't stink like me. So as you can see, we're growing all kinds of different crops. We try to diversify the land the best we can. And then we'll rotate the crop to keep this going. And then we're able to grow things like apples, which I didn't know you could grow apples in the tropics till I moved here. And these apples are phenomenal.
Ну ты знаешь, на самом деле он же вообще большой растет, этот авокадо. Он как...
Maybe. Kind of smush. Where little Ruby and Roxy have free reign. They can graze as they like. And it's really good for the ground because you're stimulating it, but you're not overstimulating it. Yeah, so they definitely have that effect. But it seems like a crazy thing to do, doesn't it? To like shoot smoke at bees. But the idea is you're kind of mimicking like a fire in nature. And when the bees smell the smoke, they prepare to migrate. And what they do is they dive down and they load up full of honey. So they get kind of honey drunk. Puts them in a good mood, and they're heavier, so they're kind of bogged down, as if they're like preparing to migrate. So you don't ever want to oversleep. Has to use a deodorizer. And what better way to do that than the good old campfire smell? And you can really use a lot of stuff as smoker fuel. I used to follow a beekeeper guy.
Yep.
Yeah, that one's pretty cool. And then after they go through those, you go around your back once, come back to the front, and tie a little bow tie. In the front here. So number one rule, don't stand in front of the hive entrance. Those guard bees are going to do their job. So the first thing we want to do, and I forgot to ask, does anybody want to help me smoke the bees? You can say no. Yeah? Awesome. So I'll just need you to smoke right up here in the front without stepping in the front, if you know what I mean. Yeah, give it a good, yeah. And you guys can come closer now. We're gonna stay back here. And then we're gonna smoke every single one of these hives here in the entrance. So they all have a little bit of a heads up. And after you smoke them, you can actually hear them,
Yeah, they
and their vibration changes.
They get noisy.
They get very noisy. Yeah. And we're gonna go into this hive today. So what we'll do is I'll knock really. No, I'm just kidding. To take our hive tool, which is just like a pry bar, and I'm gonna pop this open just a smidgen, and then we're gonna hotbox them. So when I open this up, go ahead and take the smoker right up to this opening, and then put some smoke in there, and then listen. See how they get louder? And then I let them kind of settle, and they'll calm down. Load up full of honey.
You want me to smoke it?
So I'm gonna take this off real slow. And set this right here. Awesome. I like your gentle smoking. That's awesome. So if you look in here, there's not really that much honey in this top box. It's mostly open because these are like extra boxes essentially. And that's what's called supering, is when you add another box. So every time you add a box, you're supering. This is nothing. Just wait till you got a cloud of bees around you, you can't even hear nothing. It's crazy. Alright, let's see what we got here. Go right in the middle. I think we'll just go with this one. And this stuff gets glued down pretty tight with that propolis. Yeah, that's a nice one.
Wow.
Cool. And now let's go ahead and we'll leave the smoker right here. And we're gonna go into the safe corner back here where we can take our head veils off, and then we'll dish the spoons out and have a little tasting. Cool. You guys can take your head veils off. And you're clear. These girls aren't gonna care.
Thank you.
And just don't scoop the bees. So I would go with the capped stuff and just dig in and break the seal.
Get a video of this. So just scrape.
Yep, just dig right in. It'll make sense as you do it. There you go. There it is. Precious goods. Liquid gold. Nectar of the gods.
Really good.
Wow.
Guys are making me want some.
Wow.
You want me to take her off your hands?
Thank you.
You're welcome.
And you can eat the wax, right?
Yeah.
Shoot.
Everybody get some? So,
Cheers.
how's the vomit?
Pretty good.
Pretty good.
Amazing.
And yeah, Ethan, go ahead and just take it off, dude. Yeah.
I was just gonna do one of these.
Yeah, I just don't want to get honey all over the soup,
Gotcha.
because then they get really excited.
Wow.
So Grandpa would chew that. Yeah.
It's hot like this and they can go do their thing, they're not going to stop. They're just going to keep working. In the winter, they will live longer because they're doing a little bit less, but they're inside the hive nursing the bees still. And then the queen bee, she lives, if she's healthy, 3 to 5 years. And then the drones, probably about 5 weeks, similar to the workers. And they die. They also get
sting you because they're just not concerned with what you're doing.
Yeah, they
Like, even
will.
if you're moving their stuff around.
Right, and you'll see a temperament change when we get down a little deeper in here. And they'll get used to you. Which is probably why when I first got here, the bees were kind of picking on me. It was like initiation, right? You're
Oh
next.
yeah.
Just kidding. But yeah, they have the ability with facial recognition. I do stretches. It's like I can stretch further than I could because my blood's flowing better. It's really cool. Mark swears that he'll live forever.
My grandpa died at 95.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's the longest lived profession, beekeeping.
Okay. Okay, we're in the wrong industry. We have to go
Yeah.
to beekeeping.
Yeah. I want to die. I mean, not die. I want to. Look, I don't even have to work. Love it. Hold on. Being smushed nobody. That's how we do it. So I don't know if you saw this up here,
Wow.
but good for you. But every time we come out to the hive, it's like takes all this work to break the seal because they don't want air coming in because they have to regulate the temperature. And they're little heaters and air conditioners. So the bees, they can flap their wings 200 times in a second. And this is how they can generate their body heat too, to about 111 degrees to take care of the young and regulate the temperature. And then they'll do the same if it gets too hot. They'll go out and take little water droplets, set the water down, flap their wings at the water, and make a swamp cooler. So once again, humans are ripping off nature. So you remember the queen excluder I pointed out? We're gonna see that right now. Oh, who's my bee buddy? Set that there. Cool. So now we're under the queen excluder and we need to be really careful because the queen's gonna be in here somewhere. And we don't want to drop her, we don't want to smush her. But as beekeepers, if you want to make sure you know if your hive is healthy, you want to find traces of the queen. And the best way to do that is to take one of these frames and look for eggs. We'll take this out real careful. See what we can find. And let's see. Ooh, not looking good. I don't see any eggs. But I can see in this one here
Oh, I see.
that there are some. So we'll go into that one. And this is where you're like, man, I wish I had 3 arms. Because where am I going to put this frame? I'm not going to set it on the ground where the queen can fall. You really don't want to be in here more than you have to. Kind of a quick little glance in the hive is all you really need to get the job done.
And those the eggs.
Yeah, so this is a really good frame actually to look at because you're going to see eggs and larvae and the caps brood. And we got the queen. No freaking way. There she is. Do you see her?
No.
And let's take a look. There she is.
Oh, yeah. Wow.
That is lucky. That never happens. So you always got to keep your eyes open. And forgive me, but I'm not going to pass this one to anybody
Okay.
because we got to take care of her.
Oh, the queen, of course.
And remember I was talking about jobs, right?
Mm-hmm.
There's also a job called the royal attendants, and those are the bees that take care of the queen, and they stay with her, and they clean her and feed her. But yeah, so you have capped brood right here, these kind of amber colored ones. There's some white milky stuff inside of these cells. Those are the larvae. So that, you know what that is? That's
Queen
a
egg?
queen egg. And it's partially opened up. So I don't know if they hatched at the same time. Maybe that's dead now. Maybe they're patching it up. But the point is we have a queen and we have eggs. So we're in good shape.
Yay.
I was a little worried for a second there. But yeah, you got a little bit of everything here. And so there's a drone, big fat head. And the drones come out of these. These are the bigger cells that the drones hatch out of, and they're generally on the bottom. Yeah, this is like crazy that we're seeing all this today. We're like pros. But yeah, that's my point right there. Is once you go under that queen excluder, she can be anywhere. See, I already lost her. Did you guys see where she went? Uh-oh.
No.
Hopefully I didn't drop her. But you really have to keep track of stuff like that. Because you could have her and then you could smush her and then they're screwed.
So what happens if they lose the queen?
If they what?
If they lose the queen?
Oh, so as long as they have an egg from the queen that was there before, they can turn that into a queen by feeding it the royal jelly.
What is that sack they're eating out of?
Is that? Yeah, so that's what I was pointing out is really crazy right now.
Is that the queen egg?
It is a queen egg. And it's like partially opened up. So I'm not sure what's going on, to be real with you. That's an unusual sight where it's open like that. I'll have to ask Kylie if she saw this last time she was in here. Man, where'd she go? She is so quick.
They are quick.
Anybody have eyes on her?
Is
Isn't it funny?
like, if
It takes
she
all of us to try to
flew
find
out,
her.
would she be able to come back in?
She is darker.
So there's no reason for her to want to fly unless she's gonna go out for a mating flight. Unless she flew back into the hive and we didn't see it, which is very possible too. But there's no reason for her to want to leave this area unless she is a virgin queen and she needs to go mate, which is a dangerous part of their lives. Cool, so I'm gonna have to tell Kylie about what we found and make sure this hive is still got eggs in it by next week. If not, we might have to figure something out and do the beekeeper thing.
Bring the queen.
Yeah, sometimes you have to introduce a new queen to the hive if they can't do it themselves. But they have eggs in here, so
Oh no.
yeah, I really lost sight of her. I bet you she's in the hive. It was phenomenal find. And in fact, normally I push these all together. I'm not gonna do that because the queen could be there. I don't want to take any risk smushing her. So let's get some smoke and then we're gonna piece this back together.
Oh, my smoke died.
So, and this is another thing that can happen to you in the field. You're like, oh no, I'm in the middle of my work. What do I do?
Smog die.
And that's why I brought the backup fuel. But this should get us there. So we just want to get this back together. Real gentle like. And then these get stuck together too. It's crazy. And this is where you can really smush beads. So you kind of have to like do this gentle little bouncy trick. And it kind of gets them out of the way from those spots you can smush them. So yeah, practice your yoga and meditation. But I consider this my meditation. It really chills me out. And I'm kind of disappointed I didn't get stung today. Oh look, they're trying to get that beetle. No, see that? Damn beetles. That's a hive beetle. And those actually prey on weak hives. And what they'll do is they'll slime out a hive. And it turns the honey to this slimy gunk. But 12 o'clock right now. We're gonna go up to the honey house, show you Willy Wonka's chocolate factory, and then we're gonna go try some honey at the end.
Супер.
You guys good on time?
Of course.
Yeah.
We are on Maui.
What are those?
And cover it with a tarp. Bee busters.
Do you guys get calls to just extract bees?
Honey house.
In what store you can buy your honey?
Right up front.
I know.
ABC stores in Maui have it.
Okay.
Mana Foods.
Okay.
Foodland might have it.
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, sometimes they have it, I think. So we have all these really great tools and machines in here that help us get through 25,000 pounds of honey a year. So what we'll do is we'll come back with the bee van, bunch of honey, thousands of pounds. We'll set our boxes in here, and we have all those frames. And then we'll set the frame in here, pull it down into this, which triggers the machine to spin these chains. And the chains gently take off the wax coating that's over the capped honey. And that will save the wax down in the bottom. And then your honey frame is opened up. And then you're going to take your honey frames and throw them into here, which is a spinner. And the centrifugal force pulls all the honey to the outside, and then it drips down, goes through a tube, and then we pump it into these big old tanks. And then after that, we'll hook that up to this machine, which is the bottle proportioner. So we'll input how much weight we want in each jar. We'll fill that jar to the exact amount, put a cap over it, pass it over to the labeling machine, throw a Maui Bees sticker on it, and a top sticker, and then bam. And then the final step is preserving the honey, which I said honey never goes bad. It is from different flowers, but most of our honey comes from the forest. So there's only certain things we're mostly getting the nectar from. Like eucalyptus, that's a really big one. Like this is what eucalyptus looks like.
Eucalyptus.
Oh, chicken food in this.
Harvest the honey.
Yeah.
And then
There is a specific breed that grows bigger.
we have to bring all of the supers back.
Yes, and they'll have large eggs.
And then when we bring them back, we make sure that those hives
270 eggs.
dress
Those are not edible then, I'm assuming.
Neither
More for eggs.
Those are more.
Не ожидал.
Your beets are really small.
You joking?
Your beets are really small.
No, he's joking.
I'm kidding.
No, they're really healthy and big. Actually, I'm jealous.
So if y'all want to just set the suits and the gloves on the tables here, I'll clean that up. And then if you want to, when you're done, just meet me up front. We'll have a final tasting of all the different honeys we have.
Прикольно.
Well, tomorrow is my last day over here in Australia, so we wouldn't be able to.
Cool. So go ahead and take like 2 sticks. And then you can flip them over when we go to the other flavor.
So we have 1, 2.
There's
3.
3, yeah. So that's the summer. And then this is the winter. This one has that eucalyptus I was telling you
Oh
about.
wow.
Does it have any eucalyptus like flavor or
I think
like
it does.
a hint?
I think it does.
И that?
Really good.
It has a stronger honey smell though.
It's much stronger flavor. So it's eucalyptus and silky oak. So silky oak is another tree that flowers. The bees are all over it.
It's so good.
Amazing.
It's what gives it that dark color.
It's dirty.
So you just use one side and then another side.
And
And you
then
tell me that afterwards? Of course I knew. Good Lord. You'd be great around kids. You didn't use the spoon? Do I need to tell you?
What is it? Is it?
so this is Kula